Oh, okay. There we go. There we- It was that simple. Well, welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you so much for being a part of today's presentation. Today we are, what is this? Today we are talking about the God frequency and everything that encompasses. But before we get into that, I want to introduce my esteemed co-host, Lano the Sage from Nassau, Bahamas. Lano, go ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are and why you're a part of this God frequency conversation.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lano the Sage. Let me introduce.
Price and elevated. It's that simple.
All right, all right, all right. So, in the background, we have the God frequency playing, and from what I understand, say your, if you state what it is that you want out of the universe or from the universe, then you'll be able to manifest that. And we often talk about, the secret in manifestation and being able to manifest your destiny and understanding that words travel on certain vibrations and frequencies and they go into the atmosphere and create your reality. So often, as much as we say, you are what you eat, you're also what you speak. And from that perspective, that's where we're tapping in today. We want to kind of talk about creating your own destiny and what does that look like?
Right, right, right. Okay, so I, just like everyone else, I want to dive more into it in relation to discovering because these are certain things that only few people understand. Um, I can speak of two very very well known individuals. One of them is still alive today. That's Kanye West. The other one would be XXX Tentacion. He spoke about the God frequencies and understanding what it means to manifest what is yours and helping you to tap and open your third eye, the pineal gland, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I think understanding that only goes through by experiencing it because I've tried to dig into information about understanding what is the God frequency. And the reality is, or at least the reality that I've experienced, no one has the answer. You just have to experience it. You can't say what it is. It's just like the universe. You can't say what the universe is. You just have to experience it.
Mm. All right, so in the background, we have the God frequency playing, and the God frequency runs at 963 hertz. That
Hmm.
is the God frequency. That is the frequency that connects you with the universe. So, in the upcoming weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to use certain frequencies in the background of our podcast, our weekly podcast, being Africa Law every Wednesday on Discover Music channel by Playmaster.today. We're going to put that in the background of our conversations to help manifest, connect, and sync our minds. So when we say tap in, we're definitely tapping into your frequency, tapping into your spirit, tapping into your knowledge so that you can soak in and absorb the information that we're putting out. This right here is a test. Like I said, we want to give people an opportunity to manifest their desires. So again, understanding that the entire world works on frequencies and vibrations. One of the things that I learned recently was when you go to drink your water, first of all, you should drink water every morning. I usually start off, no, I usually start off with hot water or tea to open up my body and then drink a bottle of room temperature water. But when you're drinking your water, before you drink your water, put affirmations over your water. Speak to your water because your water travels in vibrations as well. And as you drink that, you're drinking your affirmations, you're drinking your manifestations, etc., etc. And our bodies are made up of what? Mostly water. So it would make sense that you put vibrations into the water, and the water then cleanses the soul, blah, 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 blah. Now, I can say that the frequencies are moving, it changes. Like, I don't know, I had this breakthrough. I listened to the frequencies at night and I put into the earth the things that I want, the things that I desire. And last evening, I was crying like a baby, tucked in my bed like a fetus because I don't know what it was. It was like this vibration just took over me and encompassed me. So I do think that I think that there's something about the vibrations. I mean, you can hear it in the background. Let me know how you feel, Lana. Like, what are you feeling as you're listening to these vibrations? Do you feel a shift in the air? Do you feel things changing for you?
Well, I'll say this, and I haven't spoken to much people about it, but I do know that there is a shift in the atmosphere. And I do know that multiple sets of people have been experiencing this as well, and they've been very, very vocal about it. Coming on social media sources such as Instagram and mostly TikTok, and they're talking about it, asking if people can feel the shortness of the days, can
Mm-hmm.
feel manifestation coming right along. And then you have others who are using other affirmations for people to manifest what they deem worthy and using certain frequencies to allow people to manifest and utilize the frequencies because it is possible tapping into that consciousness and tapping into the universe. It is 110% possible. So
Mm.
yes, I have. Long story short, I have.
Now, yeah, yes, there's something going on. There's definitely something going on, and there's definitely something going on around the world, something going on globally, something going on the earth. Um, as much as we are not privy to the information about the what NASA is doing and all of the all of the explorations into places that were not made for man, um, you know, just I think it was just yesterday, and when I say yesterday, that is Je- February 10th. Yeah, February 10th. Um, U.S. jets shot something down over Alaska, an unidentified object. They said,
Mm-hmm.
mind you, they recently did some testing with the sun and had something probing the sun and then created I think a black hole as a result. uh it feels very marvelish, very, the stories coming out feel very marvelish to me. You know what I mean?
I say this: it's an exciting time to be alive,
Is
and I
it?
tell you why. It's a very exciting time because my mom and I we talk about this all the time. For one, I believe, and wrong word. I subscribe to the knowledge of knowing that this physical life is way more spiritual than it is physical because we can manifest things that we do not see on the physical plane. We can manifest that into this physical plane. the physical plane, the land of the living, whatever you want to call it, we can bring it here by manifestation alone. Even if it's not here at that moment, it can be here through manifestation. You understand? Now, there's the pros and the cons to that, because I told her just on her birthday, which was a few days ago, I said frequencies and vibrations are so real as much as they are dangerous, because she said that someone contacted her, and this person who always seems to contact her, whenever they contact her, she instantly gets a headache once they start speaking in a particular manner on a particular subject. I said, then you need to block that person off. Because as simple as it is, I said, and I don't think you understand how powerful it is yet, with frequencies and vibrations, you might be all the thousands of miles away that you are, and this person might be exactly where I am. They can cause your demise without even being near you, because they understand it better than you.
Right.
So, with understanding that, there's also the good part of it. You understand? And the things that we think we're not supposed to see, the reality is we're supposed to see every single thing that is hidden to us, because who is anyone on the physical plane, just like we are, that is supposed to tell us that we're not supposed to see certain things or go certain places, but they can and they have access to block those things off. I remember a person who was they claim that they astral project, and they said that when they and other astral projectors tend to go off to certain places, like I think past either Jupiter or Pluto, they are blocked off and they are told they cannot go any further and they should not persist to try. If that is true, the question is why?
Why are they
I think the
blocked
universe
off
is
from?
supposed to be.
Why are
Sorry,
they
what were you
blocked off?
saying?
Why are they blocked off?
Yeah.
Why do you think?
Based on what they said, people, entities that are on the exact same plane of existence right here on this plane of Earth, they are stopping them.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, we are supposed to go way beyond this little galaxy of ours, this little solar system. The universe should be our walking path, our playing field, our provider, if you will.
Why?
Um,
Why do you feel that? Why do you feel that man should explore the galaxy, explore the universe? Why?
because I don't believe we're supposed to be stationed on a dot. It's that simple. If there is so much out there, why do we exist just to remain on a dot? I don't see animals doing it, and I don't think we as mammals should do it, as especially on a physical, intellectual level. I do not see us doing it at all. If it's out there, we need to experience it. If we can manifest, we need to do it. If we can travel, we need to go.
Mm, okay. All right. Well, I do agree with you with the shift in the vibrations of the earth over the course of the last 36 months, maybe a little longer. Um, Definitely seeing changes, definitely experience different things in regards to the way I encounter and experience human relationships now. Um, I think I'm more empathetic. I can feel more things. I can feel sadness. I can sense pain. I don't know what it is. I I I, I used to pride myself in being a hard rock, and over the course of the pandemic, I don't know if I got more in touch with myself by sitting alone, or if it's just the changing in the frequencies and the vibrations of the earth that put me more in touch with my natural powers and abilities. But I do understand having conversations with people and instantaneously getting sick or touching someone and getting a wave of heat or a wave of cold. I don't know what that is, but I felt it happen. I've felt goosebumps when I when I speak to certain people. When I look them in their eyes, I can see emptiness. I can see happiness. I can see glimpses of, things that have happened with them. And when I say it, they're like, oh, yeah, such and such, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, the frequencies are something that we should really delve into. I want to welcome our recent viewer to the chat. Go ahead, feel free, talk to us. We talk back, you already know. We are listening to the God frequency in the background is very low, but the God frequency allows us to activate and manifest our desires. So if you would like to participate, go ahead and tap in by saying what it is that you want to manifest, and say it over the God frequency, and we'll talk about it, all right? So we all know that an effective wellness practice is incorporated to physical and emotional elements such as getting enough sleep, making time to meditate, and I hope you're making time to meditate because meditation is very powerful. Um, it helps a lot. However, one area of well being which routinely slips under the radar is our spiritual health. That relationship between spirituality and well being has been researched, with many studies concluding that connection between the two exists, yet often hard to pinpoint the exact science behind it. One such study published in 2020 defines spiritual dimension of well-being as a sense of connecting with others, a sense of life and relationship that transcends force. So again, that experience that I've been having post pandemic is probably connected to the level of spirituality and my connection to the natural order of things. Like, I don't eat flesh. I eat a lot of natural foods. I drink teas, bush teas, as many live plants as possible, as many, you know, trees. That's like trees and teas. And I realize trees and teas. And I realized that since I've changed my diet plan, I've also changed the way that I look at life. Tell me how. I know that you've also ventured into eating healthier. Tell me how that works for you, and have you felt a shift?
Well, for one, yeah, I have. And it's gonna sound crazy, but it caused me to gain a different respect for the planet itself. And I kind of get a beef with anyone that kind of differs the other way.
Mhm.
It's almost like a disrespect, if you will. Like they don't understand, or they think they understand, but they kind of turn the other cheek towards it and do the exact opposite. Um, for one, I stopped taking any form of medication that most people would take if they have a headache or got flu type symptoms. The things they would rush for, I don't rush for anymore. I stopped doing that a long time ago. The first thing I would do is run to Mother Nature and whatever she provides, which and I know what she provides, would have me well in an instant. If I have a headache, I go to sleep. I drink a cup of water before I go to sleep. And then by the time as I wake up, which will be 15 minutes, 30 minutes max, I'm up, headache is gone.
Wait,
Um,
wait, wait. Tell me your headache remedy again, because I used to suffer really bad from migraines. So tell me that.
it's a number of things actually. For me, it's always one of two things. It's whether I didn't eat on time or whether I'm just dehydrated. If I'm dehydrated, and 9 times out of 10 I would be, I drink a cup of water, 8 ounce or 16 ounce. and I go to sleep. I sleep it off. 15 to 30 minutes later, if my body wakes up, depending on whatever time it wakes up, that headache is gone.
Okay.
Or if I wake up and there's still a slight headache there, then maybe I need to eat something. So I go find me like the right set of fruits or whatever. Or I drink me some alkaline water, not the alkaline water that you buy at the store. I get me the yellow lemon and I have those sliced up and I put those in a pitcher and I have those prepped already. So by the
Okay.
time as I get that, that is my alkaline water, not what the store says. Hey, this is alkaline. Nah, half the time people ain't buying real alkaline water.
Okay.
You
Gotcha.
know,
Gotcha. So just a little slip of lemon to alkaline the water is what you do.
I go to the max. This is how I do my alkaline water, and I go to the extreme. Monday, let's say I have Monday to Friday, right? Monday to Friday, I start off with one lemon. I slice up all the lemon pieces. I put those into the pitcher. I let that sit for like a few hours. So by the time as I've already had my water for the day, before around the time that I wake up, I've already had me a cup of tea, which I just recently started getting into. Um, Around a particular time of the day, let's say around 11, maybe 12, before I go make a smoothie or something, I have me a big old cup of alkaline water from the first lemon. Before the day is done, I slice up another one. So by Tuesday, I now have two different sets of lemon inside that alkaline water. Wednesday, I slice up another one. I keep all of those in there. Thursday, slice up another one. Keep all those in there. Friday, slice up the final one. And it is stronger every single day.
Mm.
And that's how I do my alkaline water. Now, the goodness about it, and you keep at it, you not only feel the shift in the atmosphere, you also feel the difference in your body. You feel lighter, your skin feels smoother. You look at yourself, you look and you feel different. There is a reduction in something what is bad. For me, it was anti-aging. I don't know why. I can't say what the science was behind it, but I know when I looked in the mirror and I started it, there was a difference.
Mhm.
I felt like there was something circling naturally on the inside, and that's a sensation what you can get multiple times. It's not a one-time high, if you will.
Right. Okay.
So it's those sets of things right there, and listen, you let Mother Nature do what she's supposed to do. You feel the difference. If people understand what earthing or grounding is, you let your feet be planted in some nice rich soil for like about 15 minutes to about an hour, maybe 2 hours max. You are a walking battery. And Hollywood could say it themselves. You look at the Matrix, look at what the robots wanted from the humans, the natural humans. They wanted to have them as batteries. What does that tell you? We are living, walking energy. You put on some socks and you shift your feet a few times, you go and touch someone, they get shocked. What does that tell you? We are energy. And it takes a whole lot of frequency and vibration to make that happen. It's the same thing as you look at the at Superman when they were trying to stop him. They had to use a vibration machine, so the frequency was far too high and it was messing with him. There is man, listen, I could go on for days.
But some would argue that you're talking about fictional characters and things um that this doesn't have any scientific proof.
Doesn't it? I tell people all the time, when you want to find out what is truth, go to what they call fiction, and then you will check out the science behind it and you realize what they show you on television or what they put inside the movies, they have to find that out from real life.
Mm.
Because then when you go and research it in real life, you're like, oh, well, that's where this TV show or that's where this movie got it from. They may not give it to you in the exact details, but I guarantee you the truth is behind it. And it's not hard to find or see.
Okay. Well, so talking about frequencies and vibrations, according to existing research, the natural frequency of a human standing body is about 7.5 hertz, and the frequency of a sitting posture in the cab is generally 4 to 6 hertz. So that's just, just a little something. Um, but again, I want us to talk about manifestation. So, as we talk about manifestation, I want you to tell me about your do's and don'ts And how do you manifest? Like, how do you manifest your desires?
For one, I focus there. I focus there. Um, and there's no doubt in my focus. There's no what if or what, I just keep my focus there. And within my focus, and I make it my business to stay centered on the task that would lead me there. Because it's more than just sitting back and letting it happen. And trust me, that has happened more than enough times for me. Um, I remember there was a chant, if you will, an affirmation. And there was a guy, he said it on TikTok. He said, "Ching, ching, ching goes the money tree. And every time it ching, money comes to me. It all flows in so abundantly, from the top, left, right, and up under me. Wave, 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 I'm a money wave. Money flow, money made. Flowing in and out, plus money saved. Debt, 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 all debt is paid." And eventually I started saying that within like about a few weeks. And I didn't realize that on the third day, money just started coming so naturally. Someone would come here, give me this 25. Someone will come here, drop off 200 just because, oh, this person I haven't seen in 2 years since COVID. They would come and drop off 150, and another person drop off 30 here, just go get you something to eat. With 30 bucks, yeah, okay, sure. I'm going to take it. Money just started coming. I realized after a while I stopped saying it, nothing happened. But when I started saying it again, and I told my little sister about it, she started doing the exact same thing. And then
Okay,
she started reporting the exact same thing through that affirmation
so you need to
with
type
no doubt
you
whatsoever.
need to type that affirmation in the chat so that our listeners can copy that and be able to say it. But huh. And you said it took approximately 72 hours for you to start seeing results when you started saying this mantra, this affirmation.
Yep, with no doubt in my mind. And when it happened, I made it my business to not be surprised. Because when you're surprised by something, it's almost like you're not supposed to have it. No, I'm supposed to have what's supposed to be good for me in whatever realm I'm in. That's beneficial for me. So when I receive it gracefully, but never surprisingly.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
Also, I'm typing that in right now to put inside the chat so everyone could just copy that and remember that, keep it logged in because I know it.
Right. Yeah, clearly you know it. Yeah, say it.
The
Now,
fact that I said it from the beginning to the end, like I know.
right. The law of attractions, and it's amazing, ironic. Um, wow. About 17 years ago, when we first started the network, one of our very first shows was about the law of attractions and speaking things into existence, right? So, the
Right.
law of attraction is about frequency. Like does attract like, so focus on keeping your frequencies high and you will manifest your dreams. Many of us have heard of the law of attraction that like attracts like. However, many are confused about what that really means. In this exercise, like attracts means like frequencies attract like frequencies. Many high frequency attracts the things that I want, and my low frequencies attract the things I don't want. So it works both ways. You can bring it
It does.
you can bring negative into your life or you can bring positive into your life. And each one of those things travels on a frequency. So you have to make sure that your frequencies are in low, right? What lowers your frequencies? Anything that makes you feel down lowers your frequency. And here's a list of what researchers found lowers frequencies, okay?
Right.
Um, Intent to control. When you desire to control your feelings as well as others and the outcomes, You are operating out of your wounded self, which lowers your frequency. Even positive thoughts can lower your frequency when your intent is to control rather than be loving to yourself and others. Do you understand that? Like, even your positive even your positive thoughts can lower your frequency if it is not coming from a place that is genuine. Negative thinking, resentment, judgment, and self judgment. The lies you tell yourself from your ego, wounded self, lower your self frequency. Feeling fear, anxiety, depression, anger, guilt, shame, jealousy, and envy all have a low frequency. So, any thoughts that come from false beliefs and that creates these feelings lower your frequency. Sometimes you need to detox, get off of the internet. um, Social media is a major stress factor. It creates anxiety and unrealistic expectations for people. So, sometimes you need to fall back, detox, and get rid of all of that judgment and self-loathing, and just be at one with yourself. Meditate, breathe, realign yourself, right? Resistance, the fear of being controlled by others, by God, or even by yourself, creates resistance, which lowers your frequency. Now, this last one, listen. I's a gal who is go to carnival party.
Right.
I go to all inclusives. I have me a good time all the time, right? But in this new me, and I'm not even gonna lie, I think it was Carnival 2019. I kind of detoxed because leading up to Carnival, we was having so many events, so many festivities, and people decided to give me libations that allowed me to leave my DNA all over Long Wharf Beach.
Mm.
So I stopped. So I don't know if I suffered from alcohol poisoning or God was like, look, we're going to have to stop. But I stopped drinking, and I don't know, I still was having really good, I was having a lot of fun. And I would be at parties like for hours and hours and hours, just enjoying myself. And it really had nothing to do with the libations. So, one of the things that lowers your frequency is alcohol. While people might convince themselves that they raise their frequency when drinking, this is not true. Just because it may lower your stress doesn't mean it raises your frequency. Okay? So, the four things that lower your frequency are intent to control, negative thinking, resistance, and alcohol. And I know the last one may be hard to get rid of, but let's start slowly. Let's start reducing our intake. And when we reduce our intake, let's do a couple things to raise our frequency and see how our lives change for the better, how we begin to manifest our desires in those moments. Um, is there anything you want to add?
Well, when you said alcohol, the first thing that came to my mind is what the old folks used to say, and some of my conscious brothers still say it as well. They call it spirits.
Hmm.
That's
Yes.
that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Spirits. The spirits. Yeah,
Hmm.
different type of spirits. Um, in addition, of course, prescription drugs. I listen. Prescription drugs lower your frequency. Okay. Um, again, I am, and we'll talk about. I guess we'll talk about this next week sometime. But I am a big believer in natural herbs and drinking from
Yes.
the earth and really tapping into what the universe has provided. Um, Lano and I recently talked about this idea of having a food tour and bringing people to the island to actually pick fruits because most people have not experienced that. And while that is one of the most simplistic and natural things for people from the islands, it behooves me that people in the US have never experienced picking a fruit off of the tree, washing it off, and eating it still warm from the sun. Okay,
Hmm. Supercharged.
ain't nothing like a freaking mango straight off the tree or caught in the middle. Listen,
That's it. You that got my mouth watering.
I I said it and I said my heart started jumping like whoop, okay. I'm
Woo!
ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. um mm, okay. Recreational drugs. A few recreational drugs, the kind of drugs that indigenous people use frequently to connect with the spirits can raise your frequency. Go ahead and smoke. Go ahead and puff that pipe, alright? Y'all know what I'm talking about. The challenge, like they be talking about marijuana like it ain't the shit. But I'm gonna tell you something. That is the way for you to tap into your third eye. Word is born. And I'm not talking about these chemically manipulated strains or nothing. I'm talking about straight from the earth. Like my pops used to grow his marijuana under the house. My mother used to grow it in a patch of bush in the back of the yard and use natural resources, chicken chicken poop to keep it. I don't know what they do with it. I don't know. I don't know. It was poop weed.
It's natural fertilizer.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what it's
yeah,
for.
to fertilize it. Yeah, but I do know that for years my mother told me that it was Cuban incense. She was like, I would smell it and be like, "Oh, I love that scent," and she's like, "That's Cuban incense." And I didn't know why she would be in the bathroom for so long. Until one day, one of my friends came over and she was like, I smell marijuana. And I was like, no. I was like, that's Cuban incense. She was like, no, girl, your mama smoke. I said, no, my mother doesn't. My mother does not do drugs. I was like, that's incense. And I brought out all of these incense because my mother, she believes in incense and stuff like that. Right? And I asked my mother, and she was like, these children, they too brazen. And at that moment, I knew they weren't lying.
All right then.
But now again, like I said, the natural herbs, the things that come from the ground, those are usually the ones that will help you connect with, that will usually help you connect um, with the spirits and can raise your frequency, but for a short period of time. But frequent use can can have the opposite effect. So while you can use that to connect, it has to be infrequently. You cannot do this on a regular base and think that you're
Right.
going to, it's like anything. You can't too much
Don't
of
abuse it.
anything. Yeah, too much of anything is going to be bad for you.
Right.
Now, food, fresh, whole, organic, has a high frequency, but processed foods can lower frequency and lower the frequency of your body as well. All right? So we already know that we operate on 7.5 hertz. Also, at the same time, our pH balance is around 7.5. See how this kind of taps into each other? Anyway, fresh foods, whole and organic foods, whole and organic foods have higher frequencies. All right? So try to eat more fresh foods. Um, Try to eat more fresh foods. And I know that it's a challenge because more and more food deserts are popping up with the closing of mega stores like Walmart. I'm so fast. Anyway, with the closing of no, this is real. With the closing of places like Walmart and a lot of major corporations are closing down. And this is when you know that something is going on. When you see these big companies, billion-dollar companies, saying that they're losing, right?
Right.
They're closing down, and they said that they're closing down 30 more stores around the U.S. The problem, and this is a problem that New York City had with big corporations coming into the inner cities or coming into New York City itself, is that it gets rid of your key foods and your mom and pop stores, your bodegas, etc. And the entire community is relying on this mega chain that's supposed to be increasing employment. However, it's increasing employment at minimum wage. So I don't know if that's really a boost to the economy. All right. Um, when the problem is when those entities no longer exist, there's nothing else to pick up the slack of that missing product. It's going to take a while. You might have 3 or 4 months before a new store comes in, a mom and pops, or a bodega come in. But in the interim, the stores that already exist, in order for them to meet the demand of what's going on, you know, they have to raise prices because supply and demand, what's available and what's in demand, they may not have as much as. So they have to increase the price on it, right?
Right.
So I've watched this happen in my neighborhood. January, I came back from the Bahamas. I was all excited. I went to Walmart to go get something. I was met with Walmart had a fire and we're closed right now. At the end of January, it was put on the news that Walmart is closing and moving from this location. Luckily, I live in an area where Kroger is right next to Walmart, and there's a Public further down the street. Let me tell you, there's not been food on the shelves at Kroger or Publix. Okay? If you don't
Mm-hmm.
get in there at 6 a.m., dog eat your lunch. And it's even worse for the produce section. Already we have to worry about if our foods are actually real. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, I am not in the Caribbean where I can pick a fruit off of a tree. During the pandemic, I thank God that I was stuck in the Bahamas and I was able to survive the pandemic by drinking bush tea and eating foods and fruits off of the trees that were outside in the yard that I lived in and or within the vicinity of the community that I was staying in. I don't think I would have had the same outcome if I were in America during the pandemic. Just the reality of it. And as much as we complain about the quality of food and resources in the Bahamas, we have the best food source and resources in the Bahamas. We have soursop that fights cancer, nuni that
Mm-hmm.
fights everything, moringa
Yep.
that fights everything. You can eat that, you can cook, you can eat that, you can drink that, you can cook that. I over the course of the pandemic, I had moringa cookies. I had curry moringa with conch and conch and fish. Like, look, I learned how to use the earth as a source of nourishment during the pandemic, and I mean I think that I took all of these things for granted while I was in America. But when I I don't want to say stuck, but when I was in the Bahamas, it really opened my eyes to all of the things. And these are things that I was taught all my life. And I took them for granted. I remember my mother used to say, tea is the healing of the nation. Now, she tried to give me tea when I told her about my sexuality. I don't know how that helped. Um, She's like, drink tea and calm your nerves, child.
He can make you feel better.
She went outside, picked some bush, and made me some tea. I came in, I was like, Ma, such and such happened, and blah blah blah, and I don't know what's going on, and I was genuinely concerned because I was afraid, because all my life I was taught that girls like boys, and so I'm having these feelings, and it's the wrong person, and my mom's like, child, drink tea and rest your nerves. Go on outside, make me this big bush of tea, and come back and say, here, child, I make you some tea.
Go to sleep and drink it and make you feel better.
Listen, that next Thursday, PE come, and guess what? I still had the same problem. I come home, I drink the tea, ain't nothing changed. I was drinking tea 4 or 5 times a day, hoping that I wouldn't have this problem. And this another thing, because we didn't talk openly about things in our communities. We don't talk openly about certain things. Sexuality definitely wasn't a conversation had in a black home. I didn't care if you was African American, Caribbean, African, whatever the case may be, throughout the diaspora. That is not a conversation that is had
Mm-hmm.
in the black homes.
I was just about to say the same thing. But
So,
name melanin, that ain't the conversation I have inside your house.
right. Um, and so, like I said, um, and that's a story for another day. But I'm just saying, like, tea. These are things that I grew up on. Drinking teas and different elixirs to counteract different things, or help help with your immunity, or to help with your eyesight, or to help with your memory. When you go getting ready for a big test, your mom brews up some tea, and you're like, okay, you drinking tea, you thinking it's calming your nerves, but you don't know that it helps you It helps you memorize things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, unbeknownst to them, they can't study unless they're listening to music. That's because your mind opens up with certain frequencies and it allows you to retain more information. And that is something that we'll talk about probably next week. But I want to thank each and every one of you for participating. There's a couple more things that we definitely want to talk about. Get up and move. Lack of exercise. Our bodies are meant to move, and not moving lowers your frequency. So even if it's a walk around the block, if it's a light jog or running in place, get up and move so that you can raise the vibrations in your body. Lack of sleep, get 8 hours of sleep. I know it's hard. It's hard in a society where we're in a recession and everybody is in panic. Um, get some sleep. Get some sleep. It's hard to have high frequency when you don't get enough sleep. Lack of water, dehydration creates huge stress on the body, which lowers your frequency. Drink water. They say drink at least 2 liters of water a day. Um, like I said, add to that, and it should be room temperature water, not cold water, right? And negative environments, and we all know the negative environments lower our frequency. We can walk in a room, and when it gets negative, you start automatically you feel it. Like that's something that you can see, right?
This
So,
is factual.
Lano, you have anything to add to that?
You said everything what I would have wanted to say. But just to put emphasis on what you said, watch the environment where you at, because the wrong people can lower your frequency. The wrong music, the wrong environment on the whole could lower your frequency. Keep your mind in a positive space, because even you can be a danger to your own frequency, your own vibrations. Meditate, and while meditating, learn to use the right hertz. I mean, I'm gonna talk to my conscious brothers about it a bit more myself, because they know about it way more than I do.
Right.
That helps. And also understanding yourself, loving yourself, ultimately, that also raises the frequency.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
So a
that.
little bit more love,